The world is filled with parallels that have learned to coexist with each other since the beginning of time. Light coexists with darkness. Truth coexists with lies. Where there is a left, you will find a right. And in a world filled with law enforcement, you will inevitably come across rule breakers. It is these rule breakers that we will focus on today as we dive into the dark underbelly of the law as we discuss the age-old concept of money laundering. The money laundering we are talking about today, however, isn't your grandfather's version of running multiple laundry businesses and then editing the books. Nope, not at all. In this 21st century where millions can be stolen and disappear without so much as a physical body to condemn, laundering has taken a new form as well, a digital form. That is the form we will be discussing today. How are criminals laundering money with cryptocurrency, and for the most part, getting away with it? If this is a subject that you have thought of at any point, or something that you might be curious about, hopefully for white hat reasons, then keep your eyes glued on the screen as we discuss this very interesting yet dark subject. We have our antagonist. Let's name him Lucas. Through nefarious ways, Lucas has managed to land his hands on hundreds of thousands of dollars that he now wants to use legitimately. Lucas has the sense to understand that he can't just go and buy a house or buy the latest car he sees without attracting unwanted attention to himself from the likes of the Internal Revenue Service and the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Many of his friends got arrested that way. So what does he do? In the past, he simply would have started a cash-heavy business that with some creative accounting would have cleaned the money in a couple of weeks or months, depending on the exact amount he has. These days, however, in the modern era, you can manipulate cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to clean your money in a quick, efficient way. And in some methods, you don't even need to have third parties in the process. So what exactly are these methods, and how do they work on a deeper level? Let me dive right into it in this investigative video. The methods listed below work to a varying degree of success depending on the exact situation, but let us just look at these as potential methods that Lucas can take advantage of. In the early days of crypto, laundering was rife as the major exchanges did not have the necessary infrastructure in place to be able to identify individual users, so the accounts were just anonymous and could be used by anyone without being traced. These days, however, regulation demands that know your customer standards be in place. These KYC standards are designed to protect financial institutions against fraud, corruption, money laundering, and terrorist financing. KYC involves several steps meant to establish customer identity, understand the nature of customers' activities, and qualify that the source of funds is legitimate. In the face of such exposing methods, over-the-counter exchanges have blossomed. Over-the-counter, or OTC trading within the crypto and Bitcoin space, is a private deal for buying or selling crypto. The transaction processes involved with such trade are not regular, as there are considerable variations at different levels, depending on the actors of the exchange and the market forces of each period. As such, this provides increased privacy for both buyers and sellers, making OTC highly intimate and individual. In our set example, Lucas would approach an OTC broker and send him the funds. The OTC broker would then match him with a crypto seller to convert his funds to crypto. The same process can be done when he wants to liquidate the funds. All this without having to expose his identity. OTCs remain largely popular because of this anonymity factor. Often they are codenamed the dark exchanges. In the case that a criminal has conducted some illicit activities online and now finds themselves in possession of a significant amount of cryptocurrency, the struggle becomes how to turn that digital cash into fiat. Enter the treasure men. These are men who can convert your digital currency to cold hard cash in the most sinister of ways. In most cases, after collecting your crypto, they leave you bags of cash in some places whose coordinates they sent to you for pickup. Finding a treasure man is easy if you know where to look. They are listed for hire on Hydra, the largest marketplace on the dark web by revenues, a part of the internet that is not visible to search engines and requires specific software to access. Despite the evident risk and nature that they carry, they are still a fairly popular way of laundering crypto. Generally, a tumbler, also known as a mixer, is a helpful service that blends various floods of potentially identifiable digital currency. It is used to improve the basic nature of exchanges by making bitcoins harder to trace, the same trait that makes them perfect for laundering money. Such services generally cost anywhere between 0.29% and 3% of the mixed amount. In the end, there should be no association between the coin's original exchange and the final exchange to which it is moved. People who use tumblers to launder their money are usually paid in small increments over time to eliminate any suspicious activity, and because of the very nature of the tumblers themselves, this process is usually favored. The April 2021 arrest of Roman Sterlingov, who was busted for money laundering with his company Bitcoin Fog, is a recent example of the popularity of tumblers. Roman had about $350 million worth of Bitcoin under his company. Talk about an actual mixer. Let's continue with the other methods of laundering that are popularly used. Privacy coins are a class of cryptocurrencies that power private and anonymous blockchain transactions by obscuring their origin and destination. Some of the techniques used in these anonymous cryptocurrencies include hiding a user's real wallet balance and address, and mixing multiple transactions with each other to elude chain analysis. This is in direct contrast to Bitcoin and other non-privacy blockchains that allow anyone to view public addresses and transactions in their network, which makes it relatively simple to track someone's deposits and withdrawals. This is what has made privacy coins the preferred currencies of those engaged in illicit transactions. The most popular privacy coin remains Monero. Monero's popularity has been on the rise, primarily due to its ability to help anonymize users. Monero transactions are much more difficult to trace because they use ring signatures and stealth addresses. These methods help to hide the identities of the sender and the receiver. Additionally, ring confidential transactions, or ring CT, helps to conceal the transaction amount, providing more privacy. Other privacy coins like Dash and Zcash are also used by cyber criminals. Because the FBI and other investigative firms have been using the transparency of the blockchain to their advantage, privacy coins have been shooting up in popularity immensely. One of the latest innovations in the anonymity arms race is the rise of crypto privacy wallets. While these take many different forms, most privacy wallets combine security features like encryption and IP address anonymization with tools to obfuscate crypto transaction trails. They've gained a following among crypto purists and those simply looking for added safety when holding cryptocurrencies, but also among financial criminals and illicit actors. Privacy wallets account for 12% of all illegal cryptocurrency transactions, and that number will only grow higher as time progresses and the major privacy wallets like Wasabi continue to gain more influence on the market. Let's move on to the next method on my list. This perhaps is the most traditional and primitive method on this list thus far. It's a particular favorite of old-school criminals because it does not entail the complex gymnastics that other methods on this list use. The hot car method is a method where after committing cybercrimes and the criminal is in possession of cryptocurrency, the criminal moves that cryptocurrency to cold storage, where they would then wait an indefinite amount of time until the heat dies down. After this period, they can then convert the crypto into fiat without too much worry about any excessive supervision. It's basically a hold and wait method. Like I said earlier in the video, this world is one of parallels. So far as order exists, chaos will inevitably exist as well. Understanding these concepts makes you realize that things like cybercrime will only become more prevalent as time goes on, and hence laundering will continue to exist. With the age of cryptocurrency, laundering has taken a new form. On one side, I would like to believe that crypto laundering somewhat makes the job of law enforcement agencies like the FBI easier, as the blockchain is just one huge transaction log that's available to trace. But on the other end, with privacy coins, tumblers, and other methods listed above, crypto laundering is constantly evolving, taking on newer forms that make it hard for law enforcement to keep up. Each method comes with its own advantages and disadvantages, but in the hands of a professional, the listed methods are lethal. It's an endless game of cat and mouse, one that you should be on the front lines of, observing and learning, for white hat purposes, of course.